So the new Gossip Girl Reboot is out, and I have opinions. A quick disclaimer, this is just my opinion, and I don't think we can talk about the new show without comparing it to the old one. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. And firstly, I'd like to say that my main word for this new show is okay, and it wasn't as good as the old one. The only positive thing going for this show compared to the old one is its diversity. Aside from its diverse cast, there's nothing else that I can say is better in this show compared to the other show. And I'm not sure if that's all that much of a plus point. I mean, it is, but to me personally, when I watch a show, I'm more concerned with the characters and the plot than I am with the demographic of the characters. And the old show wasn't all that bad in diversity. I mean, they were following the book, so they had to somewhat stick to the ethnicity of the characters in the book. And they did change Vanessa to be a POC, I mean, a minority. I mean, Vanessa was half black, half white, if I'm not mistaken. And they did change Eric to be gay. So, I mean, sure, they could have been more diverse, and this show did that better. But aside from that, I don't think it did anything better. And I also consider the fact that this takes place in Upper East Side, New York, and most people would be white, so I do not consider Gossip Girl being predominantly white to be something that was unrealistic or bad, because I thought it was just a more realistic representation of the demographic, to be honest. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just how I felt for my understanding of the demographic of that place and that society. First, I'm going to review as spoiler free as possible and not talk about anything that happens in the show first. I already said it's okay and not as good as the old one, but that includes the plot and the characters that both were better in the old show. And when I watched the old show, I was intrigued to watch the next one. I could binge watch the old show. I mean, the old show had its flaws and at times infuriated me, but I still loved it. This one, I mean, it was okay, but it doesn't. I'm not excited to see the next episode. I don't think I'm going to watch the next episode. And what happens in this episode doesn't make me like, oh, what's going to happen next? I want to see the next episode. Like, I'm not excited to do that, you know? And I don't think it's just because I'm older now, because even if I think about the old show with my mindset now, I still like it just as much. And so, anyways, that's about as spoiler free as I can give you. If you don't want to know anything that happens in the show, you should probably skip to the end or click off. But for now, I haven't gone to spoilers yet. It's just the beginning. I'm just talking about the basic premise of the episode. And I think that's one thing that I feel is done right, or done, not done right, as in I like the concept where the teachers in this one are holding the students accountable. They're the ones starting Gossip Girl. But in the old show, the kids did crappy things, but no one actually held them accountable. So I think that was the one thing I liked. But at the same time, it really didn't make sense to me that the teachers would start off a Gossip Girl blog and say I'm back, and Dan Humphrey isn't automatically a suspect. Like nobody's going asking Dan, are you the ones harassing us? And again, like even if it's a good idea, the execution is the problem. I think the old show executed their ideas better than this show. And the plots, and again, even if the idea of teachers being Gossip Girl and keeping the students in line is a good one, the plot of the students aren't as good as the plots in the old one. Also, I felt the old Gossip Girl show was easier to understand and follow. This show had me confused at times. The way they executed their plots were a bit convoluted and confusing. And there are too many characters. I think there are too many characters. I don't even know the names of most of these characters, to be honest. And sometimes I don't even know like what is happening. Like it is all like too convoluted. Like I said, execution. I think the problem is more the execution than the plot itself. And the characters, I like the characters better in the other show. I didn't really connect with any of the characters here as much as I did the characters in the other show. And none of them really stick in my mind, and even the plots were sort of touched in, like not in a way that as impactful. That's the word I'm looking for. So not as impactful as how the other show did their plots. But anyways, if you don't want any spoilers, because I'm talking a bit, because if I'm gonna give like an example from the show, then I'm going to get into spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, please go to the timestamp right now. And if you decide to stop watching, thank you so much for watching so far. One example is the plot between the two half sisters, Julian and Zoya, which I think could have been great, except the way it was executed was just a bit, I mean, not as impactful and a little confusing. They pretend they didn't grow up together, so they connected online, but they didn't want other people to know because their dads wouldn't like it. They share the same mom, and then when they get to school, when Zoya comes to Julian's school, like she has to pretend like she doesn't like her sister and somehow try to ease her sister in her group, and her friends didn't like that. When they find out that she actually was connecting with her sister, they decide to sabotage them. And I'm guessing these are Julian's minions because she's the Blair Waldorf of the school. So they try to sabotage Julian and Zoya during this fashion shoot that Zoya is not Zoya, Julian is a part of, and Zoya is watching. And they actually had a plan. Both the sisters had some plan because of something that happens earlier. But anyways, the plan was for. I mean, of the show, the plan was for these sisters to be clashing by the end of the episode. But the way it was done confused me, because how it happens is that these minions bump into Zoya and take her phone and send something with her phone. And during the photo shoot where during the fashion shoot where Julian is, parading himself around, but then Zoya gets taken out, and then there's fire behind Julian, and she's smiling and happy. And then when they go out, Zoya accuses Julian of sabotaging her, but she doesn't explain that she didn't do anything. Like they just end up fighting. Like it just confused me. Like what is happening? I'm just a little confused. Like the way they made them clash is just a bit silly and confusing. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about this show. Now, if I have like 10 comments telling me to review the second episode, which I don't plan on watching, then I will watch it and review it next week. 10 comments is all, and 10 likes. 10 comments telling me to review it, obviously. Otherwise, I'm just gonna stick to talking about the old show. Like, I do plan doing videos discussing the old show. Like, I shipped Nate and Serena in the old show, and I'd like to do a video on why. And if anyone's interested in that, you can subscribe and look out for that. Mostly I do book reviews, and I also discuss shows like this and other media content. So anyways, this is all I have to say about the show. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.